The consent calendar, all items are considered routine or implemented earlier council action and may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion unless requested. Anything on consent?
Through the chair,
Ken?
I'd like to pull 7E as an elephant.
E as an echo. Okay, anything else?
That was mine as well.
Okay.
I would like to pull 7D
D?
and 7F, please.
D, okay, and 7F. Okay, action on the remainder?
Move to
accept.
approve the remainder of the consent.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 7D is accept resignations from a member of the Community Preparedness Committee, Culture and Arts Commission, and a Planning Commissioner, declare vacancies and direct the city clerk to post the vacancies in accordance with state law. Marty?
Right, so I just basically wanted to acknowledge that the three people who served, and if staff could provide a little bit of information regarding the now vacant seats and the recruitment effort, if you may do so, please.
Thank you. As required by law, once you declare the vacancies, based on the resignation of some of our valued board and committee members, those vacancies are posted for a period of at least 10 days, during which the city clerk's office accepts applications from persons who might be interested in serving their community, and the city council subsequently will have the opportunity to evaluate those applications through an oral interview process and to make appointments at a subsequent meeting.
Okay.
Just wanted to acknowledge their names. Matt Lethin, from the Crime Prevention Committee, Carlos Gonzalez from the Culture and Arts Commission, and lastly but not least, Marie K.L. from the Planning Commission.
Thank you. Any action on item D?
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion second on item 7D and consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Item E, receive a report on the status of local emergency related to the truck collision at the Senior Center and continuing declaration of local emergency. Ken or Rico?
I'd like staff to give a brief update on this, and then I also have a request after that.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This is a very important and urgent issue for the community, as the senior center is much beloved and it is in very active use. So we were very disappointed on June 19th of this year to experience a truck accident during which the large portion of our stage area at the far end of this room was destroyed, requiring a fairly extensive repair and rehabilitation of the building before it can be used again for its full regular programming. As the City Council is aware, some of our programs, most notably our senior citizen lunch or nutrition program, has been relocated to other facilities. We are very grateful for the cooperation and participation, in particular by St. Robert's Church, in allowing the use of one of their larger buildings for the lunch program for a period of about a month and a half. Given the start of school, the program has now been relocated again over to the recreation center in City Park as an additional temporary move in order to continue that valuable and important program. With respect to the building reconstruction itself, we're very pleased to report that demolition of the stage area that was damaged in the accident has been completed, as has the remediation of the soil, that environmental damage that occurred as a result of the truck accident. At this point, we are rapidly in the process of completing the plans, updating the original senior center building plans in order to comply with new building codes, and doing the necessary work to get a price quote from our contractor so that we can begin full actual reconstruction work as quickly as possible. The 'cause One of the concerns that was expressed by the City Council at the last meeting, the last report that I provided, was the opportunity to use this room for some programs other than the lunch program that had been relocated, and most notably the bingo program that is operated here on Thursday nights by the not-for-profit that operates with a strong relationship to our senior services and our senior center programs. Bingo will happen again beginning on September 7th here in this room in the space we are currently occupying. So unfortunately, while the capacity will be a little bit more limited than usual, that program will be restored, and the not-for-profit will be able to resume its activities, at least on a limited basis. Staff has been asked to evaluate some strategies for expanding the our capability of use of the building during the period of time that reconstruction of the stage area will be occurring over the next several months. And we're rapidly in the process of doing that, specifically by the potential of creating a temporary wall that is further down the room behind this partition, thereby allowing an expanded footprint without interfering with the operation of the reconstruction activities. So we hope to be able to at least consider that, and to perhaps further expand our use of this center during the reconstruction activities. At this point, we were able to locate an attendance of approximately between 80 and 120 people at the recreation center, so we know that the programs are at least continuing to be supported and participated in, but of course we're anxious to move this emergency situation along as quickly as possible, and that's the direction in which our efforts are focused at this point.
Okay.
Thank you. That was more information that's in the staff report, but and that's what I was looking forward to. I don't want to downplay any of the measures that are taken. I was very surprised when I saw it last month, and yes, there is some reconstruction that really needs to take place, and there's safety issues also. But we don't need to talk about how important this facility is and how much it means to the seniors. We need to try and get as much space available for them, for those activities, and for that bingo program, because that also depends on they're dependent on the nutrition program and the very inexpensive lunches that they provide also. So I'd be really interested to know what a temporary wall, whether the temporary wall has to go only a certain height, and with reusable materials that can be used, sheetrock and some framing materials that could be reused in the reconstruction. And because the bottom line is that the facility is not going to be back to normal until estimated beginning of next year, right? Because we're looking at another 4 months of time to 3 to 4 months of activity that we want to get as much use in this temporary situation as we can.
Yes, you're correct. That is our current estimate for the timeline to complete and reoccupy the building in full operation. Related to this idea of a temporary wall, we don't have a lot to report right now, other than we've consulted with our staff and are currently truth testing the staff's perspective about how that would be done and how much it would cost. It's a very cost-effective option based on the information we have available right now. The idea would be simply, it won't be beautiful, it'll in fact be very, very temporary looking, but an approximate 8-foot tall wall with visqueen or some materials to block the dust, extending from the top of the wall to the inside of the ceiling. It won't be ideal, but hopefully the space could be occupied, even though it may be a little bit noisy during daytime operations, because of course we want the construction workers to be able to go quickly and well to get the building reconstructed and fully back in operation.
Action on E.
Move to accept?
Second.
Motion second on item 7E and consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the last is 7F, adopt a resolution approving the installation of blue curb striping in front of 1600 Santa Lucia Avenue, red curb striping at the intersection of San Mateo Avenue, Keynes Avenue, red curb striping on Linden Avenue near the City Hall Fire Station, red curb striping on Linden Avenue near the City Hall parking lot, and a red curb striping on Shelter Creek Lane near San Francisco PUC Electrical Equipment Cabinet. Marty?
Sure. So I pulled this item because I believe the Traffic Safety Parking Committee, they probably spent numbers and numbers of hours on these red curbed areas or blue curbed areas, and I wanted to acknowledge them for that. In a consent agenda, it's just approved and it's done. But there's a way that this all works, and the public needs to be aware of how if you want to do something different in your neighborhood with parking, there's a process. You contact the Traffic Safety Parking Committee, you attend the meetings, and you could figure out how you can make your neighborhood safer. I did go by a couple of these areas. I've known a couple of these areas. The blue curb striping at St. Andrews, it's probably not the best place for somebody that has trouble moving to get out on a slope. And I'm bringing that up because I think of just all the parking problems we're having in San Bruno, and there's a potential parking lot that is adjacent to our parking lot just over there that it's just a barren lot. And I think as we move forward to look at the pool, we're gonna need parking. And they need parking because they have only a handful of parking spaces in the back. I would like at some point to start a discussion about how we could work together to create a win-win situation where we have more parking for the people that come to the pool in the future, the people that go to the park currently, and the people that can attend those services. So those are my comments in bringing that up and pulling that from the agenda. The other one that I wanted to talk about was on Linden Avenue, where today I drove by there and the person who was blocking the PG&E vault was blocking it again. And I walked out there and looked at it, and I think the solution there is, instead of making it red curb, is to put bollards, like 2 posts on each side of that, so it does allow the vault to open. And then the other thing is, when I was there, the owner of the truck came out and we started talking. And he couldn't attend the TSPC meeting, but he said he just wouldn't park there again if that was his comment, that he just wouldn't park there again, and he didn't want to see the neighborhood lose 1 parking space, because it all adds up. So that is what I would have liked staff possibly to look into. And the bigger concern that I have regarding why this subject of putting a red curb there is the failure of our generator to kick in, and not hearing in the staff report, in the staff report of what are we doing and why did that generator fail, which is causing this red curb now to be put in because PG&E couldn't access the vault. If staff could comment on the bollards and then maybe give some information on the generator and why that didn't kick in and start when the power went out.
I don't have information about why the generator failed. It's been a few months. I believe it was last winter during the storms, but we can certainly get that information for the city council. I'd have to ask Public Services Director to comment on the bollards, if that is a viable alternative that the council might want to consider.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. In regards to the bollards, that can be looked at. It really depends on the existing utilities that's underneath the, the sidewalk as well as the planter strip area. I know the vault actually is situated halfway on the sidewalk and within that planter strip area, so we don't know how the conduits are laid out, in and out of the vault. But that has to be evaluated before we can actually install the bollard.
Right. Typically, the conduits go into the box. And so, and not only that, the owner of the truck who's parked there said, hey, I just won't park there again. I just didn't get a chance to go to TSPC. It was my truck, and I parked there because, as a lot of people know, streets are narrow, and so he hops the curb a little bit so he could not lose a mirror. So if the council will allow staff time to look at the bollards, I think that's something that is beneficial and keeps another parking space.
So would you like to approve F at this point in time, and then we can look into the bollards?
Yes.
Okay, so
That'll be fine. I so moved.
second. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second to approve item 7F on consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.